So we wanted to learn to do a website, host it. Let's say make it pretty. It's so this would be a beginner-friendly tutorial, or at least as beginner-friendly as I can. If it's not beginner-friendly enough at some point, don't hesitate to ask something or let me know. I'll be using the command line, so this dark beast here to navigate, but it's really optional for this part, for the whole website building process. So if you prefer to use a standard interface, so let's say your normal folder and your favorite text editor and so on, then just use it. Okay. If at some point you are confused about something I do, a command or anything, there would probably be an equivalent, and just let me know which command you don't understand and I'll explain what it does and so on. Cool. So the tool we'll be using is called Hugo. Let me get it here, if you can see that. So Hugo is a static website generator, which means that you with using this tool, you will build the website and then push it somewhere, and then the website doesn't do anything fancy. It's just a website that's, well, as it says, static. Okay, so you don't need to program the website's logic or anything, or store some data or anything. You just have some content and you want to put it out there on the web. So yeah, that's basically it for Hugo. And the nice thing is Hugo works with GitHub and GitHub pages. And so GitHub is basically a way to get your website hosted for free and fairly straightforward. So if you have a GitHub account, so at github.com, then you can automatically get some pages with your username .github.io, like this for me. And so this is how my web page is hosted. So it will basically be reproducing the web page I already have, but for you and from scratch. Somebody asking in the chat, have you faced problems with the security vulnerabilities of the Ruby dependencies? So I tried Jekyll, so the one that's used basically by GitHub, but a long time ago, and I was not educated enough on security vulnerabilities to be aware of anything at this point. So might be, but I'm really not sure about that. Do I have some questions? So yes, if you cannot type in the Twitch chat, just either on the YouTube one, or if you want, for those people who are on the Discord, I don't know, maybe we can put ourselves on one tavern, maybe like a text tavern, so I can read and not get lost. Alright, so if we don't have questions so far, so the first thing to do will be to get Hugo. So if you can either get it from the website here, or the best thing might be from the GitHub pages. So they are themselves on GitHub. So it's go Hugo IO Hugo and releases. I hope this is big enough. I might want to make this a bit bigger. There we go. So if you go on the main repo, so it's go Hugo IO/Hugo, and then you have releases here, which is all the released versions. And usually you will want to get the last one, except if you have some specific needs. Okay. You also want to get the latest stable. So if something says this is the latest stable and this is the latest, get the stable, because this means it's been tested a bit more and so on. So 0.71, 4 days ago, so it's a really freshly baked one. So this is telling you what are the differences, and then you get it for your platform. So you have lots of possible platforms. I think most of them should be covered for most people, let's say. So you don't want the source, you want something already compiled, and the thing I already do is get not the .deb if you're on Linux, but get the zip one, and just extract the binary. If your pretty important thing, you want to get, if possible, this one, the so-called extended version here. So the ones at the bottom. So either Linux, Mac, or Windows. Yeah, get this one. And that's it. So I already have it, but just to get you through it, so I just download this one. This will give me, I hope you can all see that. This will give me the binary, Hugo, the license and README, and I will extract this somewhere and get it available on my path. So in my case, Hugo, yes, I just put my binary file in home login.local bin Hugo, and this is so if I use my command Hugo, this is gonna call this binary here. Okay. All right. So I didn't check. Do I have questions so far? No. All seems good. Wonderful. So yeah. So once you get your so the Hugo binary for your favorite distribution, I'm not sure how they deal with Windows though. No idea. I hope this is roughly the same process. I would assume so. But otherwise that's a good question. But yeah, I assume it's roughly the same process. So one thing about Hugo is, so it's building you a very bare bones skeleton website. But we don't want something too bare bone. We want to use something which already has some structure and some nice features and so on. And since this is mostly targeting PhD students, the one I'm gonna use is called Academic. Oh, there's Academia now. You're not gonna get me like this. I want this one, yeah, Academic, which is a fantastic, very complete theme for Hugo. So yeah, again, Hugo is the generator, and then Academic will be the theme that's on top of Hugo to build a certain structure of website. So the demo page should give you roughly the same thing as me. Yeah, it's biography, interests, publications. If you have some, if you're a very successful academic, your projects, blog posts, and so on. So we'll be building this one basically because it's nice and pretty. All right, so yeah, for this, I guess the best thing might be we might want to go just through the demo of this one. And for this, nothing better than just checking the documentation. And this is there. Alright. So yeah, first thing is install Hugo. So at some point after the installation, you can just do Hugo and this will give you something. So for example, Hugo version. And I can check that I have the same version as you, so 0.71 here, the latest. And again, very important, you need the extended version to make academic work, otherwise this will bug, and I took quite a bit of time to understand what was going on. Of course, it's in the documentation, which I didn't read at the time. Don't judge me. Okay, so yeah, so we have Hugo. Let's go to a working directory. Yeah, too many things here. And no, I'll just follow the steps there, okay? Again, if you have some questions, feel free. Somebody asking how to install it on Mac OS. So on Mac OS you have this one here, which is also a zip. I'm not sure what it contains. Let's see. So you get this tar.gz, and then you have this binary, and then so you get this, you put this binary somewhere. So let's say if I didn't have Hugo already, I just put it in my documents there. I hope I didn't show you anything compromising for me. So now if I go to my documents, I have Hugo here. Alright, so this means from my command line anywhere else I can just call documents Hugo, and then version. And this is giving me an error because I took the Mac one, but so I need the Linux one. But otherwise you just unzip it somewhere, and then either you put it on your path or you just call it like this every time. So I'd be calling Hugo directly, but if you have it somewhere specific and you don't want to add it on your path yet, so tilde documents Hugo and then the command. Alright. Yeah, so I hope this helps for those who are getting it downloaded. So let's get on here. So yeah, again I'll be using the command line, but you have some steps, especially with the academic theme, to make it work without using the command line or without using that much, let's say, coding practice or anything. You'll be mostly using well, clicking buttons and moving text around. Alright, so let's install academic, because this is where it all starts, right? So yeah, the one-click start, again, I'm not gonna go through this one because I'm not that familiar. We'll be using Git instead, so which is a command line tool. You can also download the zip file manually, or yeah, use your web browser, but this might be the best way if you're really not familiar with using the command line and so on. But all these ways are strictly equivalent, they will all work. So I'll go to this one again, install Git if you don't have it, and install Hugo extended with at least 0.65, and we're fine because we have a 0.71. And then the command will be a Git Clone, which means alright, let's get this started. I hope, yeah, should be big enough like this. So Git Clone is basically taking a project that's online on GitHub or on any other Git source, so this would be this one, and putting it, so downloading it and putting it in a folder that you specify if you want it. So I'll be calling this academic website. So this will download the thing and put it in this folder, and I can get in this folder, and I have a bunch of content. Yes, so we have all these things. Again, I can show it to you maybe in let's say in a more graphical format that would look like, where is it again? So yeah, if I'm in my graphical window, this looks like that. And here, this is strictly the same thing. It's just creating this academic folder, and I have all my stuff in there. Okay, so I didn't do anything, I just downloaded the skeleton project from the academic website. Okay, so now that we have this, can we make it work in some way? So there's one command called serve, which is take the website that I have locally and serve it, so put it in my browser but locally. Oops. Yes, of course, always read the documentation. I think I forgot one step. Question, what if I already have a GitHub page and on Jekyll and Hugo? Can I port it to academic? So it's a good question. I think the best thing might be you start from scratch and then you copy paste your content from your current website to the new website. It might be the least bug way of going from one website to the other. So of course, before making it work, we need to check yes, we have a bit more steps. I hope this is big enough for you to read, otherwise this is on the documentation of academic. So, we have this. I'll just put my window here on the side. And so we are now in our website. Some module, no, some module updates, and then init recursive. And this will basically initialize the theme which is in this project. Okay, the font size is big enough, thank you. So I have a question about an error. Yes, so if you type just Hugo somewhere, but you're not in a Hugo directory, so let's say I'm here in my home. If I type Hugo, I'm gonna get an error like, hey, this is not a Hugo website, because just the command Hugo will be generating the website. So if you want to check that it's working correctly, just Hugo version, and then you're supposed to see the version, and you're fine. But if you type Hugo somewhere, it's gonna try to generate a website that's not there. Alright, let's get back to our directory here. So now I think this should be working. So if I do Hugo serve now, oops, HTTP, and I go to the address it gives me, yes. So it gives me this website. So this is the website that's created locally and served locally. So this means this is our website. We're done. We have it almost. We have a few things to modify. So this thing here is just to show you that you have some ugly stuff to modify first, and then you have a basic website. Let's say with most plugins, and then you can remove some of the parts you're not interested in. For example, if you don't have that many publications, you don't want to show it, then you remove this one, obviously. Yep. But otherwise, this looks pretty. You can put it in light. That's not very light. Oh, right. That's because of my browser. So you can put it in light. Sorry for those in dark rooms. Dark and automatic, which is light in my case. I'm gonna put this back here. Right. Okay. So I hope the error has been fixed for people on the Discord. Otherwise, yeah, let's continue. So, what's our next step again? Did I lose my list? Not that. Okay. So we saw the basics of Hugo. Now, I've been using Git. I can't do a whole tutorial on Git, but we'll be using it just a little bit. It's basically a command line tool like this, but you can also use it graphically. If I have to explain in one sentence for this use case, Git is just a way to synchronize files between a local place, which is your computer, and a remote, which in our case will be the GitHub page. And so you have a GitHub page where you put your website, or anywhere where you put your project. So yeah, it's basically like a Dropbox or a Drive, but where you specify which version you push or pull from the remote, from the server. All right. So yeah, you have a Dropbox of programmers. That's a good definition, I think. So yeah, that was just to explain Git, not to have something used out of the box. Yeah, so we don't need that. We don't need that anymore. So this is Hugo Serve, is basically serving our website. And one interesting thing is that it's watching also the website, so it's still going on. If I want to stop hosting the website, I do Control C here, and now if I click on the page, this is gonna error. If I open a new page, sorry, like is there another page here? Contact maybe? Nope. Well, basically, if you refresh this page now, it's gonna error because the website is not served anymore. So I need to restart, and then now this is reworking. Okay, but you don't really need to stop it because, so as we're gonna see, let's see. So I'm now serving it, and at the same time I will be modifying something. Let's say I'm gonna modify the author, the main author, professor of optimization. So I modified something, and automatically the website updated, and now this is a professor of optimization at Stanford. So you don't need to kill your server, refresh every time. Okay, so everything we do now is done locally, so on your own machine, so you can try things without having to push on your real website. So you can do experiments, say what if I modify this, what does this blog post look like in the browser, and so on. So this is really useful to test things, and then only when you're good with it, you can push it online on the real website. So yeah, not restarting the server is really a nice feature. Alright, so what could we do first? So we now have a website that's working. What we can see maybe now is yeah, maybe in Atom. I'm not sure it's going to be better in Atom compared to a scary terminal window. So yeah, so Atom is just another text editor, but I'm not sure it's going to be big enough. So it's just to show the whole structure of a thing. No, I think it's too tiny. Yeah, let me know if it's too small. This window. And okay, for people on the Discord, I'm really not sure on which tavern they're speaking. They're all over the place. What we have in this directory is basically several folders. Some of them are interesting for you, some others you will basically never touch. Config is something you modify first, and you have some predefined files in there, which you will modify initially and then not touch much. Content is the one you will always modify, basically. Content is the one where you have your information as an author, where you have the homepage, where you have your posts, your publications, and so on, your talks. So this is where all your basic content goes. So whenever you create some new things, it goes there. The rest of it is, for the moment, not very interesting. We're not going to use it much. But before beginning, maybe we can modify a bit of this. I don't know. No. Yeah, this is not the. This is basically the author, and you just modify things here. So it's fairly explicit. There are comments everywhere, so you know what you're modifying and what you have to modify. One thing we can do is maybe look at the configuration, because this is the thing you modify first, and then you don't touch it anymore. The URL of your website. So this is where your website will be hosted. And so in my case, so in your case, if your username is, well, username, this would be username.github.io with a trailing slash, they say, and with HTTPS, something like that. And this will be your website, okay? So in my case, Matt Besançon, and then Since I already have a website, I'm gonna put this one on another one. Let's say academic demo. Okay, so yeah, I modified the URL here. So do you need linguistics to create a website? We always need linguistics for everything. That's, I think, an important thing to keep in mind. What will we be without linguistics? Animals. Theme is academic, and we're gonna stay on academic here. Okay. Default language to use. Yeah, very important. There is a multilingual setting, so you can use both French and English, or just one of them, and so on. And you can use a default language for this. I never actually tried to have a bilingual website, but so you know you can. You can have something both in French and English and translate the content you have. So I'm gonna leave the website in English for now. The rest of it, I assume they do things smartly, and so I'm just gonna leave things as such. Yeah, I think the rest of it looks pretty good. And I don't think I need to modify anything there. So that was it. Languages, yes. Again, if you're using a multiple language or something else, you can just add it here. Menus is the order in which the menus are shown. So I could, for example, put project after publication. I'm not sure how well this will play, but let's see. I'm just saving this here. Oh, and I'm also gonna change the weights here just to reorder things. 20, 30, 40. Do I still know how to count? So now we should have publication, and then project, and then contact. Host, publication, then project, then contact. Wonderful. It works. And let's say we want contact first, just to show you I'm not lying, or at least not in this case. Year. And let's say weight. It just needs to be a smaller weight, I think. So with 5 it should work. And yes, you see here, contact is now first. Wonderful. So yeah, you can reorder this or just delete some things if you don't want them. You can also add your CV here. I'm not gonna show this, but if you have a CV.pdf, then you can add the PDF file and just get a link to your CV on your website. So that's nice. I think I messed up something here. Yes, here. All right, so good to go. So let's just keep following the question. Did you forget the trailing slash? It might be the case. Did I forget the trailing slash? I did forget the trailing slash, yes. Thank you very much, Argel. And what does the weight stand for? So the weight here is just it just gives you an order in which these tabs will be shown on your home page. So here, so the smaller the weight, the earlier in this order this will be shown. That's just it. So it's just for the navigation link here, not the order on your website. Sorry, less confusing. So this would be just the order here, but not the order in which they appear on the website. So here, for example, I don't have experience. So contacts is first in my order here, but it's still last on my page because you can. This is something you change somewhere else. So now I think it's a bit confusing because it's not ordered well. So it makes me move a lot. All right. Question on the other side? No, it seems good. So one thing we can do now is just continue following the tutorial from academic. So we have Hugo, so we don't need this anymore. This is the demo website. Okay, so initialize, so we were just there, and now we played a bit with it. So the rest of it is just different ways to install it. Again, I would recommend using Git if you can. It's really much easier, even though it's a bit of a cost to enter at the beginning, or barrier to enter at the beginning, because you have to understand a bit of some Git concepts. But once you get it, it's really much smoother than the other solutions. So I would encourage you to try that. Right, so now we get on the interesting part. So personalizing, making things pretty, and so on. Choose the right theme for you. Ah yes, this is where I will need the whole audience to voice in. You have different themes, and I might have mentioned it before, but I don't have any sense of aesthetics. So people can voice in if you prefer one of these themes. Sorry. So we now have the minimal one, I think, and we can change it. So if you prefer another one, people told me yesterday they found the coffee one ugly, which is the one I picked for the trials. So if you have someone you prefer, I hear Mr. Robot on the side. Apogee shit. I have some conflicts now. This I knew I should not. I knew I should not have asked for your opinions. Well, except if your opinions agree. So, so I have one Apogee, one Mr. Robot. All right, you know what? Let's just pick it randomly. So if it's can I do this? Apogee, Mr. Robot, and then we'll just let fate decide. I'll just pick one myself. Dark seems very weird. It's like strawberry but with chocolate. Forest, why not? Forest. Green is good. So, Apogee, decided. Boom. So much easier. Dark. Ah, sorry, Argel, you were too late. We already picked the one. All right. So let's get back to it. Config. So it's in theme here. Yes. So I hope this is here. Does this work? It might need a full refresh here because I changed the theme. So I think I'm gonna have, in that only case, to kill the server. Ooh, no, that was not there. So here, this is all the changes that happened before when I made some modifications. It rebuilt the website. But then I made something stupid, which is I modified something I should not have, and it gives me an error like module apogee not found. So this means I was not supposed to do that here. So this was academic. This will stay like this. And then I have to find where exactly are we supposed to params. Yes, theme. There we go. So that will be the theme. So now I modified it, but yes. Okay, so this was my error, so it's now not giving errors anymore, so I can hope the website is now doing okay. Yes, and it's there. We're gonna remove this green thing right after. I don't see any difference. Maybe okay, no, yeah, I do see a difference now. Apogee. I was about to say Apogee is nice, but yeah, this feels even worse than drinking cold coffee. Yeah, maybe the dark version is better. Okay, I don't have a strong sense of aesthetics, but this feels wrong. I don't know about you. Okay, well, yeah, I just let me know if it's ugly, but I think it's ugly. I would say so. Yeah, maybe another one. So which those? Oh yeah, but I mean, come on, yellow and purple. Who does that? Okay, so the other one was looks like Halloween. Yeah, I think you're right. This very much looks like Halloween. So maybe Mr. Robot, but I'm not sure where you put the space. So we'll see. Maybe I'm gonna break something again. Save. Now I'm gonna check. So here I save, and since my server is still watching, I can see if I broke something. So this was the error I had before with Apogee, and then this rebuilt the website, but I didn't get any new error here, and I get the time also. So this built it at this time, which is now. So that's great. I think I didn't break anything. So this means I can now go to my website, and this looks, no, that's not my website. Website is here. Oh, yeah, it's very Mr. Robot, but I guess it works if you're in, I don't know, mechatronics, I guess, or in some very obscure part of computer science. This must work. What does the light theme, sorry, look like? It's it's special, but let's say it works. I mean, if people are happy. So yeah, we're gonna keep the Mr. Robot theme here. Yeah, thanks Nicholas. I'm trying not to do any stupid thing here, even though this might not be that easy. So first steps are good. No, it's not there. No, it's not there again. Themes. Yes. So we picked the theme here. Right. Choose the right theme for you. So we did. We picked one of the themes. Yeah, you're right. It's still better than Apogee. Um, yeah, futuristic. I think this is the very definition of that. The font size may be adjusted from XS extra small to XL. So I think we're gonna leave it like this because people can always zoom in. I'm not gonna play too much with this. And then the right layout for you. Um, yes. No, I'm not gonna repeat that on camera. Thank you, Alex. Um, so, so we have different types of content. Sorry. Um, the layout is basically what kind of web page you're building. In our case, we are building an academic website, but it's not a project page, it's not an online course, so we're just gonna leave a standard layout, I think. So the next thing I wanted to do, I think, is maybe adding some content still. So we're just gonna see what kind of content we can modify. Role, let's say, we're not professors. PhD candidate in unicorn studies. Right, sounds better. Organization, and I don't think I'm at Stanford. What kind of cool university could we be at? Yeah, if you have ideas. Nelson Piquet is a character from Silicon Valley. Oh, all right. I'm really terrible with names. We could add another character instead. Silicon Valley characters. I never remember the names. Yeah, let's say we're a developer, so let's say we are Bertram Guilfoyle. Perfect. So if you notice, sorry, there's one thing that's fairly interesting. have the possibility to have multiple users. If you have an academic web page, usually this will not be that useful. But if you have, for example, a lab, if you want to build a lab website, this can be super interesting to have different authors. So, for example, different people can add a blog post, and you can have a blog post authored by one person, and it's indicated, but it's authored by this person. So for your lab website, this might be super interesting. Or even if you have your personal blog, but it's starting to get some weight and some traction, and you get some invited posts, or I don't know, then you can add another author here. So when you have this admin, and you can add another one. So yeah. So what university did Guilfoyle go to? If you have the answer, let me know. I'm not gonna check Wikipedia now. My research interests include, no, not that, include unicorns. Way better. Interest. Um, Unicorn theory, history of unicorns, comparative studies of unicorns. If you have other topics. Okay, I'm not gonna modify everything obviously, but yeah, you get the idea. Here, the one fairly interesting thing is you have a ton of possible social media or login you can add. For example, you have Google Scholar, GitHub, and so on. What this looks like is if we are on our website, so no, this one, yeah, that's our website. This is the things you have here. So here, this jumps to contact, okay. Otherwise, you can link Twitter, Google Scholar, GitHub, Instagram, anything you want. You have tons of icons you can choose from. And so you can pick basically everything you want and leave out the rest. For mine, I'm not sure which ones I used. Yeah, Mail, Twitter, Scholar, GitHub, Quora, OrcID. OrcID can be nice to have for academics, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Right. Questions so far? No, all good. I don't think in the last steps are getting easy. The hardest part, I'd say, is the beginning, like getting Hugo, getting the academic template. When you have things working locally, you already have most of the work done. Okay. Oops, sorry. User groups. Yeah, this is a bit too advanced. We're not gonna use that. So this was it for this here. Otherwise, home you have. So you should not modify this too much. Alright, maybe one interesting thing. You remember we had weights on the menus here. So this is the menu you have on the top side here, okay? But if you want to modify the order of the sections in the page, this will be in your home folder. And in your home folder, you have, for example, about, which is of weight 20. And if I want to put, let's say, so what do I have? I think about is this part here, the biography. Let's say I want to have experience before skills. Okay. So I go to experience, it's a weight of 40. Okay. And then skills is a weight of 30. So I'm just going to invert these two. 40 here, skills, and that was experience, I said. Yes. 30. And normally, if I didn't break anything, this is now inverted. And I now have experience and then skills. That's what we wanted, right? I think. Just in case, I can check again that my website built correctly. So it's built every time I save or modify something, and here the last time was just some seconds ago, and this seems to be working. So all good. Yeah. So one thing we might want to do is remove this part first. So this is this is nice to have a reminder of what academic is. So this is the academic kickstart, and again, so this is really a very complete set. That's open source, that's free. I don't gain anything from it, but it's been super useful to me and probably later to you. So donating a coffee or anything might be nice for the authors. Otherwise, we're going to remove this section, which is content home demo, and we just need to remove. So this was here, this part, and we can just remove this demo there. How do I do that? We may delete, yes. Move to trash. And now I save again, and I guess my website just rebuilt. And if I go back to the website, I don't have the ugly green part anymore. Nice. Okay, so far so good for everyone. Nicola asking what happened. Well, not much. I didn't break anything, I think. We inverted some sections, and we declared that we are a PhD candidate in unicorn studies. Sorry, at Stanford, obviously. So, well, let's maybe continue with themes check. Contents, right layout, blah blah blah. Okay, so so we can just go through the different things. Yeah, params. Yeah, we can check the different details in params maybe. So we just changed the theme here, but we can change other stuff. If you're an organization or project, you can change the site types. So for example, if you're building a website for your lab, it might be useful. Otherwise, if it's your personal website, I think this is the default and you can just leave it as such. Enable rich content. So this would be useful if you're using math on your website, if you're using code that you want to highlight a bit, or diagrams, but last time I tried this was still a bit buggy. Introduce yourself. So we've done that. We said that we are in unicorn studies, so this is fine. That's not a big deal. So we changed the menu. I think I spoiled everything already. View your site, okay, and deploy. Okay, I think we are ready to deploy now. So we have our website, but again, it's working locally, meaning this is on my machine, localhost. So it's not visible from anywhere. I just open it through a browser, but it's not visible on the internet. Yeah, themes is okay. So what we'll do now is set a title, a base URL, which will be the website, which will be the GitHub website, and then we'll push this on GitHub. Okay. Do we have other questions in one of the chats? Is Twitch living now, or is it still dead? Yeah, it's still dead on my side, too bad. Well, more or less dead. Ah, no. It seems, no, cool, it's now living. Wonderful. More or less. I just modify the title on Twitch to get it working properly. Alright. So if some people have strong opinion on Twitch versus YouTube and you prefer Twitch, you can now switch. I think it's working fine. Right. Deploy your site. Okay. Just water break. Let's go. I'll be doing this on this side. So I hope I won't give you any compromising detail on my GitHub. So when you create a GitHub, you can basically create new repositories or clone other ones. What we'll do here is create a new repo, and because I want to create a new one that's my personal page. So if you're building your own personal page and your username is username, you need to have a very specific repo name, which is username.github.com github.io, like this. Okay. So in my case, this will be the repo. Yeah, that one. But if it's for you, so you just replace it like this. Okay. If you want a page that's not your main page, so not called username.github.io like this, you can just create a new repository and you have just an additional thing to do that I will do now. So we'll call it academic website. No, wait, how did I call it again? So this was in config params, I think. Yes, one minor thing, daylight. You can have this to true, which I would advise, or to false, to allow people to switch between dark and light mode on your website. This is a fairly nice option. I would advise letting this on because some users really prefer having a dark mode. I am one of these. Oh, also the font size here. But yeah, sit type. It's yeah. Sit website. No, it's not that. It might be in config. Sorry. Title is how do we call it? Academic website. Sorry for the originality. And then base URL will be this. So for me, so it means I need the same repo name there on GitHub, which will be this. Demo for academic websites with Hugo. And I'll set this to public. I think you need to set it public. And don't initialize with anything because we're going to populate it later. Create repo. Cool, we now have a project. So you can either get it with HTTP or SSH, but we're basically gonna use it, but we won't clone anything there. We'll just use this link to initialize. Getting that, did I modify something? I hope not. So getting back here, so instructions for websites. So we're gonna go to deployment steps. And we're going to use, so again you have this option, Netlify, which is a commercial provider that you can use to avoid having steps with command line stuff and so on, or with Git. If you really don't want it and you're allergic to anything that's a dark little window, you can use this, and I think you can just click through and get your website working. But we're going to use GitHub Pages because I think personally this gives you a bit more flexibility. So, GitHub Pages. Install Git if you haven't installed Git already. So this is basically what I was explaining, username.github.io. This is the repo you have to create. Otherwise, you just create a normal one. And then I go to my website and I need to Git Clone. No, this is the start. Right, this one. So here, this is initializing a submodule, so a subfolder in my project, which will be a special one called public, and we'll see what it is exactly. And we just add our newly created repo here. So getting back to my terminal, so this is still watching, all good. And here, so I'm copying this, and I will just replace this here with, so username will be and then instead of github.io in my case, because I'm not playing with my personal website, but I'm playing with a repo, I need to add the SSH that I copied and forgot to get. What was it again? Academic demo, yes. Right, so this one. So I'm just copying the link that's provided on GitHub when you create this new repo. So if you know what this command is, fine. If you don't know what it is, it's just creating a submodule or subfolder and adding for this subfolder this link. So this means the subfolder will be synchronized with this link. And this subfolder is called public. Right. Whoops. What did I do again? Alright. This is one trick. You need to have public empty before. Nope, it's rm. So I'm just removing this public folder and then I'm replaying this command here. Origin master is not a commit and a branch. I think I need yeah, and then this. Nope. Get some module add -f-b master. Yes. Okay, and public. Maybe I need a -u. Nope, nope. No commit yet. Alright, I think this worked, even though it complained for something. Origin master is not a commit, and the branch master cannot be created for it. What could possibly go wrong? Somebody mentioning it's the beginning of Git troubles. It's very accurate. So, well, I kind of knew this would come to this point where I get in trouble and embarrass myself in front of people. The funny part would be, how do we get out of here? I think it still created what we wanted before, and in that case, let me explain what public is. So, for a Hugo website, there are two parts. We have a source you modify. So this is basically this whole folder. This whole project is the source you modify. Okay. And when you do so, when you when you're done modifying, you can produce a static website afterwards. And this static website is just a whole bunch of sources transformed into HTML pages and so on. And you apply all the themes you want and so on. And this is put into a folder that contains the website and only the website, no sources, nothing. And this folder is called public by convention on Hugo. So when I do this basically takes all my website that I produced, creates it, so created 35 pages and so on, and pushes everything to public. And now public contains all the things I want. And so I got an error, but I think it still worked. Fingers crossed. So I think, without assuming too much, that I can get a website now. So the important thing is public is not the same repository as your main one. So meaning you have a project here, which is basically all your sources, all your content and so on. So you have this project, which is the source, and then you have a produced project, which is your website. So the website is going on GitHub pages, but the source, you can keep them locally, you can synchronize with them with something else, or you can have them in another GitHub project. For my case, I have the source in a GitHub project and the public web page in another GitHub project. Okay. I hope I did not confuse anyone, or I did not confuse everyone at least. So since I assume this works, or this worked, so I'm just gonna do two operations. So status is checking what is the current status of my Git project, and I'm gonna add everything. So I'm gonna add everything in my public project status. So it just printed warnings, so it's fine. So now it's added, and I'm gonna add a commit, which is like creating a new named version, and this will be called first commit of my website. Okay, so this added everything to my version, and now I can push this to master, which is the remote server. So now I pushed everything to my remote server, and my remote origin is GitHub basically. And now I can get back to GitHub. I forgot the name of the repo again. This was academic demo, yes. Okay, and now we have all these things pushed. Okay, and we need to do one last step. So the website will appear in Math Business Zone, GitHub.io. Let's put this in HTTPS. Academic demo, yes, that's. This will appear here. For now, I think this is not found because I don't have a website yet here. Okay. We need one last thing, which is on the GitHub itself. We need to say that this is a web page and not just a repo, because you can have repos that are not web page. Obviously, you can have any type of project. So in that case, I'm gonna activate GitHub pages. Is that exactly it? Source GitHub page is currently disabled, and now I'm gonna say master. So my main branch is a GitHub page, and now I think, fingers crossed, this should be working soon. I hope. Did I push the good thing? Yes, absolutely. No, we need to keep faith. It's just the time for GitHub to build everything here. Question: does Hugo support Julia Markdown files? Just to be sure I'm not confusing things, Julia Markdown is the special Julia files that have comments that becomes Markdown, or is it a Markdown file with some specific Julia thing? Like, is it a dialect of Markdown or a dialect of Julia? I hope I did not forget any step. Yeah, this is all pushed. And yeah, we have, I think this is all the things we're supposed to have. It might take a bit of time for GitHub also to get things working. Obviously yesterday this was faster, but you know, demo effect and so on. So for Julia Markdown, so this is the one used to produce notebooks and so on. So I think the best way to do it in that case would be to produce some Markdown out of Julia Markdown. Second thing, it's a good question. What about snippets of code? So if you are using code in your params here, you have an entry which is what kind of what programming languages you're using. I think that's here. Yes, highlight languages. So highlight is to say, am I using some code highlighting? if you're never gonna use some code in your web page, just set this to false. Otherwise, here you can add some languages. So here you have R by default. So let's add Julia, Rust, for example, and you can see all the languages that work in this thing here. So it's highlight.js, which is covering a lot of different programming languages, and including obviously Julia, Rust, and other things. So I've been fairly happy with this, and with this you can highlight code directly using standard markdown highlight. Okay, so I hope now this will be working. Fingers crossed. No, not you. Somehow something went wrong. Did I mistype something here maybe when I set the site name? No, it's not there. It's config. Maybe there's no HTTPS. No. Do I need the trailing slash? Oh yeah, right. Okay. Oh wow. This is very specific. I don't know why. So we needed this trailing slash here to open it. This is a bit weird. I don't know why. I don't think you need it because I don't need it, for example. Oh, maybe I do. Oh no, okay, I don't need it for my basic website, so it means maybe for personal pages you don't need it, but for project websites like this, you need it. Okay, so which will not be the case for you, so you should be fine. Okay, so cold sweat is gone. It's now working almost. So we now have our website online with our PhD candidate in unicorn studies. So this is now on the real internet. You can even go live, see the website. It's working. That's wonderful. So yeah, in basically 2 or 3 clicks, you get your website working. So that's a very, very nice thing. Okay, thank you for all those who crossed your fingers on this one. I think this was very helpful. Okay, so if you have any question, I think that's a good time now that we have things working and I'm a bit more relaxed. I accessed it without the trailing slash and it worked. Yeah, it might be some issues with, I'm gonna speculate here, Git cache or maybe my Firefox cache. It might be that. I have no idea. Why? How? Oh, maybe if I do so without the trailing slash but with this? No, I don't know. It's a good question. Why it doesn't work? I have no idea. But yeah, so I guess it's often the case. You accept that when you start building websites, you just accept that sometimes it's gonna work and you don't know why, and sometimes it doesn't, and you don't know why either. So we now have our website. There is a list of features I wanted to show you. If you have questions or things you want to see, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna go over things I think could be interesting for some people. Adding publications. Yeah, maybe. So, for example, we don't have any blog posts for now. It's a bit sad. So there's one command in Hugo. So I'm now in the public. I'm gonna go back one step, and I'm now in the normal folder, so in our source with all the content to create and so on. Yeah, for the trailing slash, I have no idea. It's black magic. Alright, so there's a command called Hugo new, which you can use if you're in the source, but I'm not sure what's the syntax, so I'm just gonna get help here with this dash dash. New path flag. So we don't want a new site and we don't want a new theme, we just want to create a new blog post. Create a new content file and automatically set the date and title. It will guess which kind of file to create based on the path provided. Okay, so I think we can create Hugo new and then content and post to create a new blog post. And then how do we set the title, for example? I'm not sure. No times. Yeah, I think we can just go with it and see what it does. Fingers crossed again. Ah, no, okay. I think I need to give it a name here. Okay, you pass it the complete path, so I'm gonna go in the folder content and post, and then I'm gonna add the name of a blog post. So for example, this would be, let's say, welcome, and you need to give it an extension, so this would be markdown files, so .md. I think this should work. Yes, it does. Okay, so it created content post welcome, which is our first blog post. I'm not sure what's better, opening it in my terminal like this or opening it in Atom. Just let me know if you have a preference on either of these. Otherwise, I'm just gonna use micro here, content post welcome. Okay, so so this is a comment here with this hashtag. And you have all the info pre-filed, and you can just modify it to my website. Subtitle, I have no idea what I'm doing. This sounds fair. Authors, we can just leave it as default, and then tags will be random. Do I need, I'm not sure if I need okay, so the good news is there's no error. It just built this now, so it should be good. Categories, we could create a category called general, and then date and last modified. I'm not sure we need this. What we're gonna have for now is we're gonna set this to true. So this draft feature, this is very important. So draft, brouillon in French, is saying that this blog post is not ready yet and will not be published. So the difference is, so now I think the blog post will not appear. If I go to the local website, so this is the online version, but this is not synchronized yet. This is the local one. If I go to my post, there's no post, okay? Because this is not displaying the drafts now. What I can do is here, I can set draft to false and see what it does. And now with draft to false, it refreshed and my post is now available. So here it's on the good date. There's an estimation of the time to read it, and it's in general. And if I go to general, I can see that I have all my posts that are in the category general, and there's just one. Okay. If I go to the post, I have nothing, and then you have a title of who wrote it. So if you specify an author or a list of author, it updates who wrote the post. Again, this is very useful if you have a lab web page. No question. Okay, no. Alright, so one thing we want to do is usually when we are working locally, we want to see our drafts. So we want to be sure not to post something that's not ready yet. So draft true is fairly safe for this, and you just modify draft to false when you're sure you want to publish your blog post. So draft to true, and now it should disappear again. I said it should disappear again. Yes. Now in general, I don't have any blog post. But if so, there's one way, because when you're in local mode, you know your post is still in drafts because you haven't published it yet. But you might want to see it still in the browser, and you might want to see what it looks like, even if it's still a draft. So for this, what we can do is, instead of, so we did the command Hugo serve before to serve something, and we can add this -d here to say also show me my drafts. I don't want to see only the non-draft things, I also want the drafts. If you don't remember how it's written, again, you can just use --help and see, okay, I have all these options. So serve is to serve my website locally on the browser, and here I can find that this is, yeah, where is the draft? Yeah, here, -d or --build drafts to include content marked as draft. So -d, and now if I go back to my website here, oops, did I break something? Ah, right. So the name changed. Sorry, it's now Academic Demo because that's the website name I gave. And if I now go to my post, I see it even though it's a draft. So it means if I build my website, this will not go online, but I still see it locally on the local host. Does this make sense for everyone? If not, just let me know. So yeah, we now have a blog post, which is fairly cool, but we haven't written anything. Welcome to my blog post. I'm not sure what you'd like to see from blog posts, what's possible or not. Let's say we can add formulas, a formula in a line. So it does support LaTeX directly. So it means if you use these dollars, this will convert this automatically to LaTeX, which is not the case usually for, let's say, vanilla Markdown. I can also create equations, and if I now use this double dollars like this, this will create a main equation like b equals 3. So let's see. Nope, it did not. Oh, I think I need to have math equal true somewhere. Here. Math true. And now, nope. Now that's tricky. I think this is a global setting. So I think if I go back to my configuration here somewhere, there must be a math thing to activate. Math false, exactly. We want the math, give us the math. And now, yes, wonderful. So now you see the equation inline, x equals 3 alpha, and then you can also see it centered in a pretty format if you have something bigger. One other thing we could do is add pictures. People are gonna tell me you're always thinking of math, never of pictures. So, what pictures could we get? CP pictures. Do I have something I could give you without endangering myself? I have to see what it is first. Let's see. Pictures. Not this, not that. Rename. Coloring. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna take a picture. So I'm just copy a picture from pictures, and add it to my website for this page. One thing is, so if you're used to document types where you have what you see is what you get, usually you just copy a picture and put it on your document. In that case, you put it in your folder and it will be integrated later. So where exactly you put it, there's a folder called static in your website. Again, this is exactly the same thing as here. So you have config, content, we just touched these two for a moment. You also have static. Static are all the files that are going to be used by your website or served by your website directly and not touched, not transformed, nothing. And this usually includes images. And images, for example, are kept here. So I'm gonna add this to static images, and I'm gonna not do anything. Maybe I should just, so now in images I have my picture, and I'm gonna create a new folder called post and move coloring in post. So you see now I have, if I go back one step even, so in my static folder I have image, and I created post and coloring, just to be sure to keep all my blog post related pictures in the post folder. Try to keep things clean. That's what I'm doing on my personal website, at least. This personal website is definitely tidier than my own room. Alright. So, yeah, if you have questions, again, don't hesitate on this part. Otherwise, so we have image post coloring, and in our blog post, which is this one, we're going to add the picture. And the syntax for this is a markdown based syntax, so it's exclamation point, oops, exclamation point, square brackets, an optional name, so it would be coloring, and then the path, so I think I'm always wrong on that, image post coloring.png, like this. So you don't add the static, but you need the image part. And now so let's see first if I have an error. I don't see any error. Okay, so it added my image post coloring to the website because it recognized that it exists. So now let's see on our website. Oh no, we don't have coloring yet. That's sad. We need to. So this means there's something wrong here. Did I call it post or posts? Post and coloring.png. Maybe without the trading space, like that. Nope, not yet. How could this work? Just post maybe? Nope. Post with a slash. Not yet. Oh, this is a bar. And if I remove U, no. Alright, I think I could cheat and take a look at how I do it on my own website. Documents, Hugo site, content, post. I just pick one random post, and how are my pictures stored? Image post. Okay, so it does look decent to me. So, nope, no double parentheses. Image post, and then our thing, which is coloring.png. maybe I need to restart the server. Sometimes for some operations, somehow you need that. No, not yet. Huh. Well, that's a tough one. Did I create coloring.png? Color, did I typo something? EMG post. I have no idea why this will work or not work, but you know, again, maybe my graph is too big. Let's see if, so this is our server running and refreshing regularly, and I'm trying to see if something is telling me you're doing it wrong. So this should give me the path to an image. Thanks, Argel. You can use an online picture. Yeah, I could use an online picture, but this would be a bit cheating here, I think. I mean, why getting things simple when you can just get the real stuff not working in front of everyone? That's what we're here for, isn't it? So, when we're gonna see it, it's gonna just feel so stupid. So, um, post coloring. I don't know, coloring without the PNG. No. I called it coloring, didn't I? If I called it color, coloring.png. Yeah, so it's a proper picture. Maybe it's too big. No, I don't think so. Check directly in your output folder. Yeah, that's a great point. I might do that. Somebody is suggesting, so Nicola is suggesting, check directly in your output folder, which we're gonna do. So it's a great way to demo debugging, I guess. So from here, so Hugo, again, just Hugo plain like that, is gonna generate the website. And then static files is 6. So if I go to public now, it's, you have the website regenerated with many things modified. So emg post coloring. So it's there. Do I need the website root maybe? Oh yeah, I'm seeing where this is going. No, academic demo is there. Oh right, here. I got the mistake. I need to add, so I think there will be a more elegant way of doing it. But in the meantime, I need the prefix of my website, and there I think this will work. Of course. Academic demo post welcome. No. Yeah, training here. Nope. Academic demo image post coloring. And in the output output, it was in image post coloring. Yeah, it was added during the site generation, but I think I mistyped something in the link. So it should be here. No. Static, maybe. No. Okay, maybe again, best thing might be to check the doc. Managing content. Subheading, list, to-dos, images. Alright, so they have a different syntax. Oh, nice. So you can number figures. So let's try this one first. So this one is not working. Then library equal true. This is post. Title equal coloring. Let's see now. Nope. There might be a problem with the picture itself. Because usually this is not that tricky to get, I think. Okay. One hack would be, forget what I said about keeping your folders clean. So we'll go in static, see image, and we'll just copy color, post coloring in image directly. And now this one should work. If it doesn't, then I would suspect the picture has a problem. When did I think this was a good idea to do a demo of a picture? So it's now image coloring PNG. Right. Let's maybe refresh. Post. Okay. Okay, why did it work? Why did it not work before, and is it working now? I have no idea. Curious. Any case, we now have something working. So the one working is so this one and this one can be removed. Oh no, no. Sorry. So this one is working, but not this one. Wait, what? Did I typo some? Am I mistyping coloring? Question is, what would you recommend for a long-running post that serves as a diary? I think so. From a technical point of view, you can use a post, that's fine. But it's from a content point of view, it gets very hard to read very long blog posts. So maybe I would advise, cutting it in different parts and just tagging it as diary, for example. The other thing you can do is add edits to one single post. So something like, so either here use the tag diary, and everything that has this tag will be a diary. So you have the tags here. You can the category is general, but the tag will be diary. So you can either put it as a category or as a tag. The other thing you can do is just continue on the same post and blah blah, and then edit Monday, blah blah too. Something like that. Yeah, I think it's not the best thing to have edits on a single post because people are just never gonna read it. It's way too hard. And getting on a website with something that huge, you just get lost. So maybe adding smaller blog posts that are more like one step of learning or one, let's say, unit of learning might be a bit better. Okay, so I think this is this is all good now for, let's say, content creation on a blog post. I still don't know why the picture is not working, but I'd be very interested to know. Sorry. Um, so this is still a draft, I think. Yes, I think we can now. So I don't think we need the math thing here. Otherwise, for the draft, I think we can set it to false, and this will now be published. So if I now do Hugo, this generates the website, including the new page from scratch, and so now everything is in public, and I can see what's been modified, a lot of things. So I have new things that are added, so the post welcome and so on. And so you can just add everything. Master. Nope. I added everything. Commit. Let's say blog post and push everything to master. AM. Okay. What else? So the blog post will appear soon on our online version of the web page. So which is, I open too many windows. What is it again? Academic demo. Yeah, this one. So posts, and this should appear soon-ish. It's usually fairly fast, like I don't know, 2-3 minutes. So question regarding the diary. The purpose is more to keep track of progress, not as much to publish every day. Yeah, I see what you mean. In any case, I would still advise cutting it in smaller parts, because even for yourself you can search for things by date and so on, which is a bit easier than having a huge post. But yeah, that's definitely up to you, and depending on what you expect out of it. So I don't know if I missed any question in either the did I miss any question in the Discord server, on the Discord server, or anywhere else? If you have questions I missed. Okay. One thing I wanted to show, adding publications. Right. Yeah, that's a nice feature from academic, which I need to find back. Writing, it might be here in this page. BibTeX, no. So if you are familiar with LaTeX, the main way of managing your sources, the one you're using the most, might be BibTeX. You're managing content. And you can basically create a list of publications out of BibTeX. So for this, you will need a command line utility called academic, created by the creators of the academic theme of Hugo. So this is just like Hugo, this is command line. So yeah, I have Hugo here, and I also have academic help, which you can use to manage some things of your academic website. I have just used it for my publications up to now. So Once you get this academic thing, so it's totally optional, you don't need it, but I found it very powerful. So first thing is I need several publications, so I'm just gonna grab some, let's say Julia Lang. Nope. So I'm gonna try to get something from Julia Programming Language. And I'm gonna get the reference one. And so I'm basically gonna put everything in, where is my terminal? Here. So I'm gonna go back to the source here, and let's say I'm gonna put that in content, publication, and I'm gonna add refs.bib. So this is gonna be one reference. Let's assume this is from me for 1 sec. And oh yeah, this one is nice. Computing in operations research using Julia. So that will be my second reference. So what you would put here is not references you're using. You would use your the BibTeX entry of your work. So you would just add everything here. So this could be an export of Zotero, for example, if you have Zotero, or any other tool for managing publications. So exporting your publications into this BibTeX format. So once I have this, let's see what the academic documentation is saying. Import path to your publication from the home folder. So I'm in the home folder, academic import. I think it's from BibTeX. No, --BibTeX. Path to, so it will be content, publication, and refs. Let's see. Okay, did something. Oops. Let's go to content, publication. Okay, cool. So for each of my BibTeX entries, it generated a new folder. Let's see what we have here. So we have the index of publications, and then this one. So with the site.bib and the index, and then this one. So let's see what it looks like on the website. Are we serving now? Yes, we are serving. Change detected. Cool. So it's built something. So let's see what it looks like in local. No, not that. Publications. Okay. So we don't have any featured publications, but we do have recent publications with these. And then so for each of these you can click and get the web page with the publication itself. So if you have an abstract, the abstract will be displayed here. So you have the authors, and then the nice thing is, oops, sorry, if people get this on your website, they can just click on site and they get directly the BibTeX entry, and I just find this fantastic. This is simple but so useful. And yeah, this is a great way of valuing and showing your work if you have some. Alright, did I go too fast on some parts of this thing, or is everyone doing okay? I'm not sure how many of you are following along. But yeah, if you are, I assume I might be going a bit too fast. If that's the case, just let me know, or let me know the things you're lost on. Otherwise, yeah, what time is it? We've been there for 2 hours, haven't we? Yeah, almost 2 hours. Okay, so depending on the questions you have, this was the big things I wanted to show you. The rest of it is fairly intuitive, I'd say. You don't have that much trick. again, this is the key part is getting started with this, which means getting Hugo, understanding Git. This might be the trickiest part. I was really hesitating to show this demo with the non-Git version, so the non-command line, non-Git version instead of this. But again, for me this would have been a huge loss of time because I'm really used to using the command line now, and I think you should try it too. Because once you get used to it, it's really a huge win of time. Again, yeah, the nice thing here is Hugo will be rebuilding your site, so if you do small modifications and so on, you will get your website refreshing out of the box locally. So that's really nice. Sometimes this will not be working, and you will need some manual help. So you will need to just stop it and restart it. But this is really fast. This is really a snap. So in any case, with Hugo, you should not have any problem doing this. Yeah, one nice feature is Hugo is fast, but in all seriousness, I don't have that much gripe of slow static site generators. It's mostly about being convenient and having flexible templates and so on. That's what the VODs are for. What are VODs? I'm such a noob. I should Google that maybe. VODs. Highlights. Oh, the Twitch highlight? Yeah. Yeah, otherwise, I guess I can spend the next 5 minutes just cleaning things up. I guess I would just push this demo online. Maybe I should not be using other people's publications there. This was a bit wrong. So instead of using the Julia reference publication and the Jump reference publications, I might put some of mine maybe. Or maybe some old people who don't mind, like Newton. Or maybe I can put Alan Turing's publications. Does Alan Turing have a list of publications? Yeah, I just be doing this just to clean a bit the site. If you've been watching, thanks. You can leave now. If you have questions, otherwise feel free to ask them now or take some time. I still have a lot of time to answer some questions if you want. Turing. Yes, of course. Wait, yeah. What this is? The number of citations is just absurd, but yeah, it deserves it, so. Yeah, we could use this. Site chapter. Parsing the Turing test. So yeah, I guess so here for most of your journals you will always be able to get some form of bib file. Otherwise, I do have a Scholar plugin that I use sometimes. Oh wow, sorry, this is bright. So I guess I'll just replace my references with this one here. Content, publication, refs. Oops. Get this clean. And then academic import. I think I might have to clean things up here. Content, publication. Yeah, I think so. You still need to remove the things you don't have anymore. Byzantine my web page. So the local one, publications. Oops. Oh, I cut the server, didn't I? Yes, I did. Right. Featured publications, computing, machinery, and intelligence. Site. Oh, you even have a DOI. That's nice. It's really clean. And the PDF. Wonderful. How do you get the PDF out of that? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that's it. I'm gonna push this online, so this will still be on mattbesançon.github.io/academic demo afterwards. If you want to see how it looks. Yeah. So Hugo. See. Public. Oops. Added Turing ref. So this is now added to the public one. So it should be online. Not now. Okay, cool. So our blog post is online now. With the image, I hope. Yes, wonderful. And oh, recent publication is not there yet. I think it will take. Oh, it's there. So we now have a Turing publication on the website. So this is on the internet here, not local. Right. So do I see more questions? So thanks everyone for joining. I just shut down the stream now, and yeah, see you soon.